Hey everybody, so this week we are going to try something a little bit different, and we are going to go through 5 of our favorite links this week. I'll include all the links in the descriptions for whatever means you are watching this. We might post this on a few different sites, so I will make sure there's a link back to all these links so you can read these materials or consume them when you are ready. So 5 links. We're just going to go rapid fire here. First up is a deep dive from Smashing Magazine called Designing Better Breadcrumbs. And when I mean deep dive, I mean deep dive. According to their little read timer, it's a 33-minute read, but I'm only laughing because, breadcrumbs are a small yet important item. So this is a true deep dive. And, I think it's a totally worth the read because it really kind of just at least get you thinking, get you kind of. Basically, I think the first heading, let's scroll back up here. How do people navigate websites, right? You kind of start at that high level, and then there's plenty of examples, different types of navigations. I'm just kind of scrolling through right now here, and it says, when do we need breadcrumbs? So a lot of good questions get answered, a lot of good things get raised. If you're in the middle of a new revamp or new design of something, I thought the different types of kind of screenshots were really helpful. And also too, like I said, just kind of this, getting yourself in that frame of mind and that frame of reference of thinking about these things and how can they be helpful and how can they be really, really truly useful for your users. So that is link 1. All right, link 2 is A11 Y of Fint. This is kind of a neat way to teach yourself some web accessibility challenges and kind of learn some of the best practices. I think, I'm just trying to click into one there. And the accessibility stuff is always talked about and it's super duper important. And I think if there's ways that, people can make this a little bit more fun and engaging for developers, they're more likely to consume it and get kind of familiar with it and get comfortable with it. I'm going through kind of one of their challenges here, and they kind of, it looks like a Code Academy kind of thing. You kind of, replace the p tag element containing the heading with the level 1 heading, right? So just teaching you about headings. And I think honestly, like, depending on where you are in your journey, these cool, there's a bunch of these little challenges. They break them down, easy, medium, and hard. Right now, there's just kind of some of the easy ones up, but I thought it was really, really neat, really, really cool kind of approach, and definitely worth checking out. All right, moving on. All right, link 3, we have building a lightweight web component with lit.js. Okay, for our JavaScript people out there, lit.js is a web component framework, and it allows you to, it's a library, and allows you to kind of build these web components that are very easily movable, move around from different application to different application. If you're in Angular, you could probably load this. If you're in React, you could probably load this. Lit is only 5 kilobytes in size. Lit also renders UIs quickly because it only touches the dynamic parts of your UI while updating, eliminating the need to build the virtual tree and diff it from the DOM. And it's future ready because every Lit component is a native web component with the ability to communicate with other members. Web components can be used with any HTML framework. So it's kind of just like a really easier way to write web components. I believe it is a Google library, lit.js. In this walkthrough here, you get some examples and get some sample code. And, if, you're kind of thinking about what you can reach for, what kind of tools you need, I love web components. I think they're underrated. I think they're awesome. And hey, if there's libraries out there that get people to write web components, I think it's cool. And so, if you're looking to build something or you have something that you need to inject into an app, take a look at this. Could be helpful. All right, 3 down, 2 to go. Whew. Okay. So, all right, this one I always just like to bring up because it's a practical guide to centering in CSS. It's always one of those things that, you see kind of thrown around, but I tell you what, people still get it wrong. I still get it wrong. I forget about ways. I still do kind of old school ways. And I think too, and I have grid and flexbox solutions here. I've been at this a long time. That's usually not my go-to. So I think kind of seeing these I thought was cool. And you know what too? I think sometimes, right? Sometimes we think we know things. I think it's always good to get the refresher and also see different approaches. And so I think this one's cool. This is from stackdiary.com and a practical guide to centering in CSS. All right. Final link, the ultimate guide to optimizing JavaScript for quick page loads. Title says it all. You're trying to move your stuff around. You're trying to trim some of the fat. How you approach your JavaScripting definitely makes a big difference. And this is a nice little walkthrough to help you kind of give you some ideas. And, kind of, I guess, again, I think this is just one of those ones, change your thinking, get you thinking a little bit differently. And they show some examples here. One was the party town script, which is something I've been playing around with. So definitely cool if you are working on some of your JS and trying to make some optimizations. So that is the ultimate guide to JavaScript for quick page loads, and that's from builder.io. All right. 5 links in the books. Thank you very much, everybody. That was this week's episode, and we will see you next week. Thank you.